Hargreaves, chance for Torquay! Chris Hargreaves, the captain! If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells!
Hello, welcome to the latest episode of the Gull'S View, brought to you by Galaxy TQ. I'm joined by Tom.
Good evening, Sam. You all right, mate?
Yeah, and no one else. Right, so everyone else is on holiday. I am good, thank you. You?
All good, mate. All good.
Yeah,
Better
what a
for
win
the other night.
Yeah, what a win. That's a win last night. So, before we go into a load to talk about, actually, for once, it's just nice to actually be back playing football in the sense that there's loads to talk about and many different debates to be had. Also, we won 2-1 last night, which was our first win of the season. We'll go onto that in a bit. A lot to be said, not the start we wanted, but at the end of the day, we've got the 3 points last night and we must build from there because it was absolutely tragic the Saturday before. I wasn't there, I was on holiday. I literally got back from holiday half an hour before the game last night, but it's just as horrific as what I've heard.
Lucky you, Sam. Lucky you.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Almost ruined my holiday. I was sat doing my second holiday shop. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. But
I tell you what, mate. I think had Worthing scored 6 or 7, I think you would have left there saying, you know what, that was a fair result.
Yeah, that's what I've read.
It was very, very poor, very disappointing. I said in episode 3 of the season, I said, you know, Worthing were going to be a good benchmark for us, and we failed miserably.
Yeah.
First things first, though, full credit to Worthing and the way they played.
Yeah.
I mean, what a fantastic footballing side they've got there.
This is like, from what I've seen from last night, they play passing football. The teams in the National League South don't have the ability, but they play better football than in the National League. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely, no. But they've always been a very good footballing side, Worthing, and I must say, I know I predicted a hefty win like most of us did, but in the back of my head, there was always the potential that this was going to be such a difficult opening home game for us, and so it turned out to be. I mean, the 3-5-2 was absolute joke.
I hope we never see it again until we play big teams again.
It needs to go in the bin. It just didn't work. I mean, the wing back situation once again was diabolical. I think we had Collins and Stobbs, didn't we, in that wing back area? I mean, it was just awful to watch, and they just exploited us perfectly. I mean, the first goal's an absolute joke. Donnellan doesn't close down, as does pretty much any other one in the squad at the back there, but he's got all the time in the world to cross it.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have held on it for another, the rest of the half if he really wanted to. I don't think anyone would have got close. And we just never looked like we were going to score. I think they made their first proper save against us 85 minutes in.
Yeah.
It was really that bad. And the second half was a joke. I mean, the amount of 4-on-1s, 3-on-1s, we were just being torn to pieces. And let's not forget, this is a Worthing side who I believe are part-time. I could be wrong on that, but travelled on the day, some by cars, some on the coach. It's just not good enough from us. And unfortunately, it highlights once again, we never seem to start a season fully fit.
Yeah.
We look knackered after an hour.
That's it.
It was just sad to watch, and the crowd really turned in that second half as that third goal went in. I mean, my goodness me. It was not pleasant, and there was a lot of hate for Gary Johnson after that. And I mean, I tweeted afterwards, I said, we're not going to get anywhere with him. And we'll come back on to Gary Johnson later, I'm sure. But Worthing fully deserved the points. They'll be up there. I mean, they've already won their first 3. They're scoring a lot of goals. They'll be up there. And again, they're meant to be a good barometer. They were a good barometer, and we failed miserably.
Humble pie this last 3 games. Is that the comment? I don't know. Just, you feel made to feel a bit stupid, but that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I never wanted to disrespect the National League South, the teams in there. It was just more the fact it's like, no, all the pressure is on us. We're a full-time outfit, and we need to be bouncing straight back. And same with Yeovil, and both teams, obviously, they've got more points than us. I've been found. I did predict we'd have a slow start. But I don't think anything like this. Obviously, last night, a lot has changed, and I will just say one thing, obviously, on the whole system. I prefer to find that my plan A was a disaster for the first 2 games of the season, and then slowly move away from that, as we hopefully are doing with the 4-4-2 last night, rather than, as the season goes on. We've acted quickly, right? It's been a disastrous start in a lot of ways. we've got that out the way. And I mean, the next 2 games, which again we'll talk about later, is the key really now, isn't it? I said after that game, a lot of people calling for him to go. I mean, it was like a sackable performance. In those sort of things where you think, oh, minute, they're something horrendously wrong. I said at the time, like my rage, he has to win, or we have to win the next 3 games. We've won the first one just about, and there were improvements in some respects in terms of shape last night, but
not difficult though, is it?
No,
let's be honest.
No, let's be honest. This is the bare minimum. I'm not defending this start at all.
The first half last night was so boring and dull to watch. I mean, it was, but yeah, it was a marked improvement from the Worthing game. But again, that's not saying much. And Chippenham came with a game plan. They tried to get us on the break, tried to get a goal, tried to get an early goal. But yeah, it was just so. I was just sat there and I was stood there on the pop and I was like, this honestly looks like a really bad game of National League South football. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I agree.
But the second half, thankfully, we came out of our show a little bit more and started to get a little bit of traction. And thank God we got the goal when we did. I mean, Ross Marshall, what a move! Like he starts the move in his own half, and he just keeps running forward, and he makes a lovely finish. It was just amazing.
He had a good performance as well last night. I mean, obviously we know about it. We always spoke to Ross Marshall enough on this. I mean, I've always got so wound up by him because I look and think you could just be a really good player. But it's just something. I remember that Dorking game. I said on that Dorking game, how can you not had that ball that's coming in? Obviously, it's come out about the eye surgery stuff over pre-season. And last night, it's just one game, of course, but it's talk man of the match, and it was the player it should be. He still has the odd moment, you think, oh, come on. But like, I think actually, right, it did fail on that goal. Chippenham didn't test us that much last night. We were solid in other ways. But I actually was quite impressed with Tomlinson and Marshall as centre back in a 4, because I just feel like Tomlinson reads the game quite well, and then Marshall's kind of the presence. Both I think comfortable on the ball as well. Both comfortable on the ball, especially Tomlinson.
Yeah, I suppose you've got to remember as well, they're still relatively young players.
Very young players. Marshall is only, 23, 24, even though you think he's late 20s by now. But
it was like we were saying a few weeks ago, you look at the players from last season, right? Out of all those players, which is going to be the one that's going to have the most likely chance of redeeming themselves this season? I don't think many would have gone for Marshall.
No, right now, Marshall wouldn't have gone because McGavin's had a terrible start. Hansen's not there. Crow hasn't been there.
That was a Hansen on Saturday. I mean, okay, it was difficult enough as it was, but just doesn't do anything for me, I'm afraid.
I mean, it kind of spoke volumes that this kid from Plymouth, who we know he's got talent and all that. For me, right now, I'm not writing him off at all. He's got ability, but he's nowhere near ready.
No.
Right now, it's just that he wants a bit too much time on the ball, and positional wise, he's a bit lost last night. He did a few good things. He won the free kick. They got the player sent off. I see him as more of a creative player rather than just stuck in the central of a 4-4-2. If he is going to be a player, I do kind of feel maybe needing a loan in the season and the league below first. But look, it's early days. I'm not going to rule him off yet. He's definitely got something about him.
He's a diamond in the rough, isn't he? And now,
he was not ready at all last night. But I still think it speaks volumes of what he thinks of Crow and Hansen, because he could have easily put Donlan in that central midfield last night and put Crow right back when Asa went off. Yeah, and he could have easily brought Hansen on midfield. I mean, McGavin, I don't know if he's got a knock or just been completely dropped out of it.
I don't want to kind of pick on McGavin any more than I already have, but I didn't feel like at all last night. I was like, oh, we're definitely missing Brett McGavin in that midfield. Like,
it's just not been the start he needed, is it, so far? Let's just say from those first 2 games.
It's a shame because I think
it's against Dover, but
it's a shame because there's a player there. I'm fairly certain, but it just doesn't seem to. If he is putting effort in, it's just not good enough for this level. Yeah. And unfortunately, whatever happened last night, whether he's injured, which wouldn't surprise me with the state of half the squad we've got at the moment, seem to be all injured. I mean, last night as well was Asa going off 10 minutes in. I mean, God, he went to the hospital apparently afterwards. So it'd be interesting to see how long he's out for.
He knew straight away, didn't he? It's horrible.
Yeah. Try to carry on, but you wonder, just get him off. Don't take any risk, especially with Asa.
Yeah.
And, it feels like Gary pointed out in his post-match interview, didn't he, last night, we're almost like the walking wounded at the moment.
Yeah.
It worries me. It worries me going ahead into Saturday, thinking the team that we're going to be able to put out, and because St Albans are no mugs, quoting Gary Johnson there, but
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult. But no, I was a fan of the 4-4-2 last night. We looked much more stable at the back, although that isn't saying much, to be honest. With the performances, especially after that Worthing performance, but I definitely think that's the way we need to go. Bin the 3-5-2, go 4-4-2, and yeah, I'm just glad we pushed and got that winner. I mean, Chippenham, once they got that equaliser, seemed quite happy to hold on to what they had, which surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
Their play, the theatrics, a lot of players going down.
I don't really blame them though. I wasn't looking and thinking, oh, it's like Boreham Wood.
Of course.
But also, can I say the new rule for time wasting, best rule. Oh my god, that is such a good rule. Like it's like when the back pass rule came in, it's changed the game. It's gonna get rid of all that rubbish.
Well, you can try and waste as much time as you want, but you're running the risk now of the 10, 11 minutes extra.
Also, it's the same ref as the one against Plymouth, and people always criticise the ref, won't get everything right. But again, the ref. I like the ref last night. I'll actually praise the official.
He was all right.
But he just didn't make the game about himself. He got things wrong. Some bits could be better. He got the red card right, in my opinion, and just kind of need more of that. It's weird. It's a really weird thing in the National League South again, because it's like, why am I'm seeing more football than I'm doing in the National League? It's like I didn't walk away last night thinking, Christ, we should be smashing that sort of team like we did in the National League. How are we getting? It's like, crikey, they know what they're doing down there. It's just we have the facilities and so the Yeovil that should trump that any day still, and that's the point. And that's why we're all sat here going, oh, we're going to win the league. I'm not disrespecting any National League South team at all, but I think
I just look at the players we've got when they're fully fit and think
we miss Dawson so much.
Well up there. Absolutely, that's such a big miss
because he coaches on the pitch. It's like having a manager on the pitch when you've got Dawson. He motivates people so many times, and because obviously last night it's kind of like what Jarvis was a dead leg. Fair play to the lad for scoring because right, forget the injury, like nothing was working. I was questioning it. Like, surely he can't be fixed. I've never seen Jarvis so like not running around. Like it just And at one point he's like his head was going down, and I was just like, that's where having your Dawsons on the pitch. Just like, no, come on, get a grip, come on, you can got this, mate. It's not going well for you. Keep going. You just felt like you needed that on the pitch last night a bit. But fair play to that, and what a ball by Ash as well.
I was just about to say, great ball by Ash, and it was
by Jarvis movement as well. Josh has begun.
Josh finally off the mark of the season
and that's so crucial. Just need to get Collins and Ash scoring goals now, and I think you start to see. And Stubbs brilliant ball in last night, beautiful cross on that lad. So interesting.
It goes to show as well that some teams are going to come to Playmore and they're going to make it difficult. They're going to put everyone behind the ball, and it's up to us to break them down. And you would think having the likes of Jarvis, Ash, Collins, etc. I mean, there's goals there for sure. It was just that Worthing game as well. I keep going back to the Worthing game, but how many times? I mean, we were just lumping it forward all the time. There was no passing involved. It was literally House would kick it to Jarvis. They would counter that. And then it was like, what do we do now?
That's embarrassing. Like if that had carried on last night, I would say getting gone now. The fact that, I still personally, we don't win the next two games, not good for me. Like there's just worrying things for me still. Like it papers over the cracks last night. It's not good enough to start. It's not the start we were after.
And that was the general consensus last night from a lot of fans. I mean, I left Playmore last night thinking, but I mean, I'm glad we won, but there's still huge issues that need addressing.
Mark. We've got such a long way. If we want to be at where we want to do, whether it's Johnson or not, we've got so many things to get to. It just felt so flat for so many long periods of the game. All I will say is when you've had a disaster of a start, which we had, you need to tighten it up, start from scratch and build again. And last night was nowhere near good enough for most of the game. But start from scratch. We've got the 3 points. We're back to a 4-4-2. I prefer that now. And kind of we go from there, isn't it? It's kind of like that now. It's like, right, if you win your next two games, scrape through them, whatever you want to do. It's the Norfolk Victoria moment, I say, from the 08-09 season. Well, we were absolutely terrible. Buckle probably should have been gone from the start. We didn't deserve that win at all. We won, and I'm not making excuses. I know a lot of times I sat last year, oh, Johnson's going to turn around. I'm not as confident because after the disaster of last season, on Saturday I was like, no, I think it's going to go. Yeah. The fact is, we won last night and we have changed it. Okay, let's keep going. We need another striker. Of course, that was this all about. It needs big improvement. But no, at the end of the day, it's all on the next 2 games now. Yeah. And seasons, it's a long season. I do actually sometimes prefer to be a team that after 5 games, we've got 10 points. We're just about there. First, be a team that's sort of coming into gear a little bit fast for 10 games and then goes from there. We've got big improvement now. It's not good enough. One thing I will say about the atmosphere at Plainmoor, fans all entitled to their opinion. Never going to go. Don't shout Gary Johnson out. Pick your moments though, because and I'm not having a go at anyone really, but I'll just say we've still got a game to win. Chanting Gary Johnson out 5 seconds into the second half and just come out a bit of motivation. We need to get on the players, which we are on the players' side, but I get chanting Gary Johnson out if we're 4-1 down. Yeah, it's fine. I'm never going to stop anyone. Yeah. But we need to stop this kind of, maybe it's the younger element, I don't know. When we're at the game, we need to keep backing them. Pick your moments. If we're 4-1 down, if it's after the game, fine, whatever. I'm never going to, because I am not really disagreeing with the opinion, really, in some parts, especially if we're drawn last night or lost. But I just think at times, pick your moments. Like at 1-1, and I was hearing a few protests, I was like, come on, we need to win this game of football, whether it's for Gary Johnson or Torquay United Football Club. So it was a bit of a weird atmosphere last night. I was a bit confused at the timing of some of the things. But yellow was yellow, aren't we? But we need to keep together.
My philosophy is, I'm not a fan of Gary personally. I think it needs a change. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to go into a game wanting us to lose. I want Torquay United to be successful. I want us to win football matches. And like you said, Sam, you've got to pick your right moments. I mean, the Worthing game was, shambolic from the start, and there was a lot of Gary out towards the end.
No, it's
absolutely.
We all come to let us steam. When you won one and we need to win the game, it don't matter who it's for. Get behind the lads, come on. Yeah. We did. They were great still. It was only odd pockets here and there. I'm like, especially when we're building momentum, just all right. Just we need to manage it. But I was a little bit like, oh, come on. But that was a great moment still. Jarvis scoring that winner. I did run down the top side like him.
Yeah. Hopefully that will be the start for him now. Hopefully that will get his confidence up, like you say.
Yeah, because I saw his head coming down. I was like, come on, Jarvis,
you got. I was watching him the 2 games, and I was like, I know he's putting an effort in, but it kind of looks like he wasn't putting an effort in.
I know what you mean. Compared to what he usually is, like he doesn't
mind elsewhere.
Yeah,
he must be. He must be frustrated as anyone, not getting the right balls to him and all that. I mean, the aerial bombardment that we tried to put on Worthing was a disgrace, and he got nowhere near.
I don't blame him for feeling frustrated at all. I have nothing against Jarvis. I think Jarvis is amazing. But all I will say is, just kind of, I think sometimes when a player hasn't had a move, which he didn't particularly maybe want, or he's just, sometimes the start of the next season it is a bit slow. And maybe Jarvis and Collins or whatever, maybe Jarvis more than anything, is just kind of having that little bit. That's fine. He'll be back scoring goals, where he has already. So, and to play dead leg, we could barely run and still score your winner. That to me is why I love Aaron Jarvis. I did start to think, oh, this is not the Jarvis I'm used to with your head down and that. We are only human every day, to be fair. But I think to score that winner, that was a big moment for him in that season.
You just hope he's going to be fit for Saturday.
Yeah. Because and get another striker in, for Christ's sake. Honestly.
I know. And before we end the episode, just to say to the Worthing fans who I spoke to after the game, Sam and those who watch the videos, watch us, class act. I wish Worthing all the best for the season. Thanks for watching our videos, guys, and we all look forward to seeing you at your ground at the end of January, I think. So I hope you enjoyed your weekend on the English Riviera.
I've really enjoyed, and the atmosphere of the South, it's been great, to be fair. So just to kind of, I just want to get that out there. It's pure football again, which I kind of like. It's weird. It's a weird thing to explain. Does that make sense? Teams are just coming and playing football. I'm like, yeah, it's fair enough.
It's definitely a harder division than it was when we were last here.
100%. 100%. But there we go. So I mean, we're making it hard for ourselves at the same time, and there's no real excuse. But yeah, that's what we have to say. So yeah, thanks for watching this first part, and we'll be back when we answer your questions and those sort of things, the general things. Tom's corner in part 2.
Kelly's corner. Kelly's corner.
Kelly's corner. Ice cream.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.